Have you ever caught yourself staring at the screen, knowing exactly what you need to do, but somehow you just can't begin? Maybe you've checked your phone again, made another cup of coffee, or told yourself you'll feel more motivated later. If that sounds familiar, you're not lazy. You're simply human. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe and stay till the end, because once you understand what's really happening inside your mind, you'll never see procrastination the same way again. Procrastination isn't about poor time management or lack of discipline. It's a psychological puzzle, deeply rooted in emotion. It's the way your brain tries to protect you from discomfort. When something feels boring, overwhelming, or anxiety-inducing, your mind's instinct is to escape. And in that moment, scrolling through your phone or checking emails feels rewarding. It's short-term relief at the cost of long-term peace. But here's the twist. Procrastination isn't a productivity problem. It's an emotional regulation problem. Your brain is constantly choosing between two things: instant comfort or future satisfaction. And more often than not, comfort wins. That's why we keep saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," even when we know it only adds guilt and stress later. Keep watching, because we're about to uncover 5 deep psychological reasons why people procrastinate. And once you know which one controls you, you can finally break free from it. 1. Fear of failure. Some people procrastinate because they're afraid to see themselves fall short. Starting means risking imperfection. So they wait, telling themselves they'll begin when they're ready. But that day rarely comes. Fear-based procrastination protects the ego, but it also blocks growth. 2. Perfectionism. Perfectionists often delay not because they don't care, but because they care too much. They overthink every step, set impossible standards, and freeze under the weight of their own expectations. Ironically, trying to make something perfect often leads to making nothing at all. 3. Task aversion. Let's be honest, some tasks just feel awful, boring, confusing, or emotionally heavy. And since our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain, we run from discomfort. That's not laziness, it's biology. The trick is learning to start before you feel ready, because action itself rewires resistance. 4. Instant gratification. We live in an age of endless dopamine hits, notifications, videos, messages. Every distraction offers a quick burst of pleasure. Why face a challenging project when your phone offers a dozen easy rewards in seconds? But here's the truth. Each time you give in to instant gratification, you teach your brain that avoiding effort feels better than growth. 5. Overwhelm and decision fatigue. Sometimes it's not fear or distraction, it's too many choices. When a task feels too big or unclear, your brain freezes. It's like standing at the base of a mountain with no idea where the path begins. The secret? Break it into tiny, doable steps. Every small win gives your brain a hit of motivation to keep going. Now, if you're still watching, you're already different. Most people click away when the topic gets uncomfortable, but you stayed. And that means you're ready to understand something powerful. Procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's a message. It's your mind saying, "I'm scared, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed," or simply, "I need help regulating this discomfort." Once you start listening instead of fighting it, everything changes. So the next time you catch yourself avoiding something, pause and ask, what am I really feeling right now? That awareness is the first step toward freedom. If this helped you see procrastination in a new light, don't forget to subscribe, because in the next video, we'll dive into how to rewire your brain to turn action into your natural default, so finishing feels as easy as avoiding once did. Stay to the end of this series. You'll thank yourself for it. Hey, everyone, before we dive in, take just a quick second to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. It only takes a moment, but it means the world to us. We share new videos every week that help you understand yourself better, think deeper, and grow stronger from the inside out. So go ahead, subscribe now, stay with me till the very end, and let's explore something that might just change the way you see procrastination forever. Now tell me if this sounds familiar. You promise yourself you'll start something in just 5 minutes, but somehow an hour slips away. You've checked your phone, watched random videos, maybe even cleaned your desk, but the thing you actually needed to do still sits there, untouched. If you've been there, and let's be honest, we all have, you're not lazy or broken. You're simply caught in one of the most fascinating battles of the human mind, procrastination. And trust me, this topic is worth watching all the way to the end. Because once you understand what's really happening in your brain, you'll start seeing your habits and yourself in a much kinder, more powerful light. Procrastination isn't just about putting things off. It's not poor time management or a lack of willpower. It's emotional. Every time we avoid something, we're actually avoiding a feeling. That task sitting in front of you, it might trigger fear, boredom, anxiety, or even self-doubt. Your brain senses that discomfort and instantly tries to protect you by saying, "Let's check our messages first, or we'll start later when we feel ready." But that later rarely comes, right? Here's the truth. Procrastination is an emotional regulation problem, not a time problem. It's the brain's way of running from discomfort and chasing short-term relief. That's why distractions feel so good in the moment. A quick scroll, a funny video, a little snack. Each one gives your brain a small reward, a hit of dopamine. But that comfort doesn't last. Soon, guilt and stress creep back in, heavier than before. If you're still here watching, good. Because what comes next might explain your version of procrastination. Psychologists have found that not everyone procrastinates for the same reason. Some people fear failure. They'd rather not start than risk doing something wrong. Others struggle with perfectionism, setting such high standards that starting feels impossible. And some people have trained their minds to thrive only on panic. They wait until the last possible minute because that rush of adrenaline finally pushes them to act. Sound familiar? Don't worry. We'll unpack all of that. But first, make sure you've hit subscribe because we've got more deep dive videos like this one coming up, all about mastering your mind, one thought at a time. Let's keep going. Another big reason people procrastinate is overwhelm. When a task feels too big or too unclear, your brain freezes. You tell yourself, "I don't know where to start," and so you don't start at all. That's your nervous system going into avoidance mode. But there's a simple fix. Break the task into smaller, easier steps. Don't focus on finishing. Just focus on beginning. And here's the beautiful part. Procrastination isn't your enemy. It's actually a message, a signal from your mind saying, something here feels unsafe or uncomfortable. Once you understand that, you can replace guilt with curiosity. You can start asking, am I really feeling right now? Am I afraid to fail? Am I tired? Am I overwhelmed? That awareness is where real change begins. So, if you've ever called yourself lazy, stop. You're not lazy, you're human. You're wired to seek comfort and safety. And procrastination is your brain's way of protecting you from discomfort. The secret to overcoming it isn't forcing yourself harder. It's understanding yourself better. By the way, if you're still with me, thank you. It shows you're someone who truly wants to grow. So do yourself a favor. Subscribe, stay connected, and don't miss the next video in this series, where we'll talk about how to retrain your brain to turn action into your natural state, even when motivation fades. So keep watching, keep learning, and remember, you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to start. You just need to start right now. There are those quiet moments when you sit down, ready to start, the cursor blinking, the list waiting. But something inside just stalls. You want to move, you plan to begin, yet your mind feels heavy, tangled in invisible resistance. You tell yourself just 5 more minutes, maybe after a quick snack or one last scroll. But somehow, hours slip by, and you watch yourself delay the very thing you want to finish. That right there, that invisible tug of war between what you intend to do and what you actually do, that's procrastination. But here's the truth. It's not a weakness. It's a sign, a window into how your mind protects itself from discomfort. And before we go further, take a second. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next, because understanding the real psychology behind procrastination can change the way you see yourself and your habits forever. See, procrastination isn't about laziness or lack of motivation. It's about emotion. It's the mind's quiet way of saying, not now, this feels hard. Maybe the task feels uncertain, or maybe it stirs up something deeper. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, or even fear of success. Yes, success. Because success changes things. It brings pressure, attention, responsibility. And sometimes, change feels dangerous to the part of us that craves safety. So instead of facing that discomfort, The brain finds shortcuts. It looks for small doses of relief. Scrolling through your phone, checking messages, cleaning your space. For a few minutes, it works. You feel lighter. But that comfort never lasts because you're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feeling that comes with it. And here's the twist. Procrastinators aren't people who don't care. They're often the ones who care too much. They overthink, overanalyze, and hold themselves to standards so high, starting feels impossible. They tell themselves, I'll begin when I feel ready. But that readiness never truly arrives. Some even wait for the thrill of last-minute panic, convincing themselves they work better under pressure. But really, that's just the mind using stress as a spark, a coping mechanism built over time. And then there's overwhelm, the silent anchor. When something feels too big or too uncertain, your brain doesn't see it as one simple task. It sees it as an enormous, unscalable mountain. You stand at the base, frozen, wondering where to even begin. But here's the thing. The hardest part isn't climbing the mountain. It's taking the first step. That step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Because once you start, even a little, momentum begins to work in your favor. Procrastination, at its core, is a mirror. It reflects the emotions you haven't yet made peace with: fear, doubt, perfectionism, overwhelm. It's not an enemy. It's a signal. And the solution isn't to attack it with guilt or willpower, but to understand it with compassion. The next time you catch yourself avoiding something, pause and ask, what am I really avoiding, the task or the feeling? Because once you see that truth, you stop running. You start listening. And from that awareness comes a quiet power, the kind that helps you move forward one honest, imperfect step at a time. Progress doesn't come from punishing yourself into action. It comes from working with yourself, not against yourself. Every small action you take, even watching this video to the end, is a rebellion against fear, and a moment of growth. And if this message is resonating with you, don't forget to subscribe and stay to the end of our next video, because we'll be exploring how to break the emotional loops that fuel procrastination and finally build momentum that lasts. So keep going, keep learning. And remember, you don't need the perfect moment to start. You just need the courage to begin, right here, right now. He sat there, eyes fixed on the glowing screen, the blinking cursor pulsing like a quiet heartbeat. The page was empty, but his mind wasn't. It was full of ideas, plans, and promises he kept postponing. I'll start in 5 minutes, he whispered. The same line he'd used yesterday and the day before. 5 minutes stretched into an hour, and that hour quietly dissolved into the night. The coffee grew cold. His phone screen lit up again and again. Deep down, he knew he wasn't avoiding the work. He was avoiding the feeling that came with it. The fear of not doing it well enough, of failing before even beginning. That's what procrastination really is, not laziness, but fear dressed up as comfort. And before we go deeper into this, take a second to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. We're building a space where people just like you come to understand their minds, grow stronger, and move past the habits that hold them back. Your support helps this channel reach more hearts and minds. So don't forget to subscribe and stay with me till the very end. Now, back to that blinking cursor, to that strange moment when your body is still, but your thoughts are racing. Procrastination isn't a lack of discipline. It's your brain's way of protecting you. When a task feels uncertain, challenging, or emotionally heavy, your mind senses discomfort and whispers, not now. It doesn't care about deadlines, it cares about safety. So it pulls you toward comfort. Scrolling, snacking, tidying up, anything that gives a small burst of relief. But that comfort is temporary, and once it fades, you're left with guilt, frustration, and the same unfinished work. Most people think procrastinators don't care, but that's rarely true. In fact, they often care too much. They want things done perfectly. They want every move to matter, and that desire for perfection creates paralysis. You can't start because you can't guarantee it'll be perfect. And so you wait for the mythical right moment. But the truth is, that moment doesn't exist. Readiness isn't something you wait for. It's something you build by starting. Some people even rely on pressure, convincing themselves they work better under stress. But what really happens is adrenaline takes over where motivation ran out. It's not focus, it's survival. It works in the short term, but leaves you exhausted and anxious in the long run. Then there's overwhelm, the silent trap. When a goal feels too big, your brain can't see the path forward. It only sees a mountain. You tell yourself you'll start when you figure it all out, but the way to clarity isn't thinking harder. It's acting smaller. The first line written, the first idea spoken, the first tiny action. That's what melts the fog. The mountain always looks huge from the bottom, but one step changes your entire view. Here's the truth. Procrastination is not your enemy, it's a message. It's your mind saying, I'm scared, I'm tired, or I'm not sure I'm enough. When you listen instead of judge, everything changes. Instead of asking, why can't I start? Ask, what am I afraid of? The moment you see the emotion underneath, you stop fighting yourself and start understanding yourself. And that's where growth begins. Not when everything is perfect, but when you take that one brave step forward, despite the fear. Because progress isn't about speed or perfection. It's about direction. So today, start small. Write one line. Make one call. Take one step. Every little action is a quiet rebellion against fear. Proof that you're moving, that you're growing, that you're showing up for yourself. If this message spoke to you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss what's coming next. We've got more deep dives into the psychology of everyday struggles, fear, motivation, discipline, and growth, all designed to help you understand your mind and live more intentionally. So keep watching, keep learning, and remember, you don't need to feel ready to start. You just need to start to feel ready.